So let's talk a little bit about the psychology of the American dream. Coming back to this, that American dream of a better, richer, and happier life is the promise of a higher class, right? And class broadly defined. We can talk about socioeconomic class. We can just talk about social rank. That your life will be better. You will be in a better position. You will be of a higher class than you were when you got here or your parents before you. The American dream is subsequently rooted in social comparison. Social comparison theory is a standard psychological theory that discusses how we determine our social and personal worth based on how we stack up against others. So here's a fun image that I know that I am smart because I am smarter than the person next to me. I know that I am not pretty because I am not as pretty as the person next to me. I know that I am valuable because I am more valuable than this person next to me. And we can extend this over and over, and I hope you see how problematic it can be from a psychological perspective, right? That we understand our value and our worth depending on the people that we are around. There's a reading from Class Matters called When the Joneses Wear Jeans. This phrase, keeping up with the Joneses from the 20th century, describes the experience of being in comparison with the person next to you and is part of the conversation around materialism. If so-and-so has a washing machine, I want a washing machine. If so-and-so has a new car, I want a new car. But media allows the Kardashians to be our Joneses. They effectively are in our living room, they're companions, they're in our pocket, right? They ping us when they have something to say. And so we feel an affinity to a mediated, often higher class of individual that we are not necessarily a part of. A higher class of American that may be attainable, but either way we are comparing ourselves to these individuals. Having said that, to come back to the American dream as rooted in social comparison, the rhetoric of the American dream is that life will be better, richer, and fuller. Well, better, richer, and fuller than what, right? And if it's better and richer and fuller than whatever your baseline is, then it's perpetually changing, right? The phrase moving goalposts. It's perpetually changing depending on where you are. So if your life is rich and full, the American dream is still better, richer, and fuller. The American dream effectively compares our future possible selves to our past selves and guarantees a better life through hard work. So the phrase future possible self is another psychology term. We have an idea of who we might be in the future. And if we have a positive future possible self, that is, this is who I will be, and that person is good, we will engage in behaviors to ensure that we actuate that positive future possible self. At the same time, we can talk about negative future possible selves. If we have an individual that we expect to become that we fear, perhaps one that is a failure by whatever metric you consider failure to be, we engage in behaviors largely to avoid that future possible self. However, when we use negative future possible selves in the absence of positive future possible selves, we create a psychological space where we're constantly worried about being a failure, about our future self being something bad. And we'll talk about how negative future possible selves are present and very evident for many parts of the American community. So, in short, the American dream is synonymized with words like freedom, hope, self-determination, and equality. And we'll talk a little bit about how each of these words has a unique subjective meaning for different people, despite the fact that there is an objective definition for them, and also the way in which they are deployed rhetorically to effect change within individuals without necessarily providing a strategy of execution. What does that mean? That means if you hope for a better life and that better life is presented to you as a promise or a guarantee, then you may not demand the tools with which to achieve it. So one of the points that Cullen makes is that working class Black Americans, I always capitalize racial and ethnic groups. Cullen did not, so that's why that B is corrected. For working class Black Americans, for example, believe in the American dream with an intensity that baffles and even appalls more affluent African Americans who see the dream as an opiate that lulls people into ignoring the structural barriers that prevent collective as well as personal achievement. So to tie back to my original point, that if you believe in this, you will chase it, even if you're not given the tools with which to chase it.